Welcome back, everybody.
Glad to be back.
Today we're going back to 1986 with Rob Peterson's trip to the Kiel Canal up in northern Germany.
The Kiel Canal.
Yeah. It's I don't think we've ever really talked about that.
I have not.
Trip before.
No.
So this will be interesting.
Yeah, and it's a good one for this kind of deep dive.
Yeah, a lot of good stories about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about...
Yeah, what's really captivating about this one is we're getting that firsthand account, of what it was like to work in a foreign shipyard in that time.
Yeah.
It's not just about like the technical aspects of it, but it's like the human experience, the challenges, the camaraderie, and the cultural immersion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's set the scene a little bit.
Okay.
It's January 1986. Rob, along with 3 colleagues, sets off from Cardiff.
Right.
They're headed for Heathrow Airport.
Okay.
And their destination is the town of Rendsburg.
Rendsburg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right on the Kiel Canal.
Right on the canal.
Yeah.
And
the Kiel Canal itself is kind of a marvel of engineering,
really?
Cutting through the Jutland Peninsula.
Wow.
Connecting the North Sea to the Baltic Sea.
Okay.
And it was a vital shipping lane then, and it remains so today.
Yeah.
So now imagine arriving in Rendsburg.
Yeah.
In the dead of winter.
Okay.
I mean, Rob described it as bitterly cold.
Okay.
Snow on the ground.
Yeah.
He and his team boarded the Stena Hispanica.
Okay.
Which is
I'm assuming that's the ferry.
The roll-off ferry they were working on.
Right.
And they were immediately met with this bone-chilling cold.
Yeah.
Did you almost feel it?
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Especially coming from Cardiff.
Right.
Which, while not exactly tropical, certainly doesn't experience those kinds of freezing temperatures.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure, especially for them coming from there, it must have been quite a shock.
Yeah. To the system.
But amidst the cold, Rob was really struck by the warm welcome that they got from the German shipyard workers. Yeah. They were very friendly and helpful.
Okay.
And they always seemed to have a drink called corn in hand. Now, this piqued my curiosity. Yeah. I thought, what
could it be?
What could this be? Yeah. Have you ever come across this corn drink?
I've never heard of corn as a drink.
No.
What? But after a little digging, it turns out that corn is likely a colloquial term for corn, which is a popular German grain spirit. It's a bit like vodka. Okay. Often clear and distilled from grains like wheat or rye. Okay. It's known for its clean taste and high alcohol content.
Wow.
So those shipyard workers were definitely enjoying the potent local beverage.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. They were keeping warm somehow.
So Rob also mentioned something else that stood out to him.
Okay.
The German shipyard was significantly more advanced than what he was used to in Britain at the time.
All right.
He described their equipment as being far superior.
Really?
Shed some light on the state of shipbuilding in those two countries.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the 1980s, Germany was already a global leader in shipbuilding, known for their precision engineering. Yeah. Compared to what he was used to, what an eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
It must have been.
Yeah. It must have been pretty eye-opening.
But it wasn't all work and no play.
No, of course not.
For Rob and his team.
Yeah.
They did venture out into the town of Rendsburg.
Okay.
For a night of, shall we say, cultural exchange.
Okay. I like it.
And that's where we get to one of the funniest stories from this trip. Yeah. After a night of enjoying the local hospitality, Rob and a colleague found themselves needing a taxi back to the shipyard.
Yeah, of course.
The problem was neither of them spoke German.
The classic
language barrier.
Didn't understand English.
Yeah. How did they manage?
So picture this.
Okay.
Rob,
in
his slightly merry state, pulls out a pen and notepad and proceeds to draw a boat.
What?
Not just any boat.
You're a boat.
A little sailboat.
Oh, wow.
Complete with a sail.
Yeah.
And somehow, against all odds, the driver understood.
That's Brilliant.
Isn't that...
It's amazing how a simple drawing can transcend language barriers.
I know. It's really incredible.
That's great.
And it speaks to
I don't know. Rob's quick thinking.
And maybe a little bit of humor.
For sure.
Too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
a little bit of ingenuity.
It's clear that this trip was full of memorable characters.
Okay.
One that stood out
was
a colleague from Cardiff named Dweller.
It's an interesting name.
Dweller had a unique sense of humor,
to
say the least.
I like it.
One evening, while enjoying a beer in the crew bar, he decided to point out that he had something that Rob didn't.
Dweller did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any guesses?
I'm all ears.
Wow.
Dweller sounds like quite the character.
So Dweller proudly declared, I've got a certificate that says I'm legally sane.
Oh, Dweller.
Yeah.
Only he could pull off a line like that.
It does lighten the mood.
It does.
A bit.
For sure.
But on a more serious note, it also touches upon the stigma surrounding mental health, especially back in the 1980s.
Yeah. Let's get back to the lighter side of things.
Oh, right. Let's go back.
Remember how Rob mentioned the German shipyard being very well equipped?
Okay, very efficient.
Well, that efficiency extended to their beer pouring techniques.
Oh, now this I'm curious about.
As well.
Okay.
So after a long day at the shipyard, Rob and his colleagues headed to a local bar.
Okay.
Now brace yourself for this.
Oh. The bartender carefully poured the beer.
Okay.
Creating this huge head of foam.
All right.
Then he meticulously scraped the excess foam off with a tool.
Okay.
And repeated this process, not once.
He scraped it off.
But twice more.
3 times.
Yeah.
That's dedication to a perfect pour.
Yeah.
I wonder what the reasoning is behind that.
Well, it seems to be a combination of tradition and ensuring the ideal beer-to-foam ratio.
Right.
The Germans take their beer very seriously.
Take their beer seriously?
Yeah. And they believe that multiple pours help to release excess carbon dioxide.
Right.
Resulting in a smoother, more enjoyable drinking experience.
Yeah.
So as Rob and his mates were patiently waiting, they were practically drooling.
I can imagine.
By the time those beers finally reached them. Yeah. They immediately ordered 2 more rounds.
They knew it was coming.
Figuring they'd be finished with the first one by the time the next ones were ready.
Sure, I can just picture them watching that whole process.
I know.
Mesmerized and getting thirstier by the minute.
I know.
What a contrast to a quick pint at a British pub, you know? Just hand it over.
It's those little cultural nuances that make traveling so fascinating.
And it brings us to another important point.
Okay.
Rob's return to Cardiff was marked by a stark contrast to the jovial atmosphere.
Yeah, of his German adventure. Right.
Just a few days after he got back.
Okay.
The world was shaken.
By the Challenger. Space shuttle disaster.
The Challenger, January 28th, 1986.
Yeah.
A day that many of us remember vividly.
It's, it's just crazy to think about. I mean, the Challenger that...
The burst parks.
Shortly after liftoff, killing all 7 crew members on board.
And then this happens.
Yeah. It was a devastating tragedy that had a profound impact. You've been listening to Beyond the Engine Room, a production by Rob Peterson.
And keep those engines running.